Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Emmett and today I'm going to be doing some landscape photography at one of the most beautiful places that I've ever been. So this hidden spot back here is extremely beautiful. It truly looks like something out of The Lord of the Rings. And I could probably spend weeks back in here photographing just at this spot, and there's several different places down through here that are just as beautiful as this is. But today I think what I'm going to do is limit myself a little bit, save something for later, right? And try to get 2, maybe 3 compositions, and by doing that I will help myself mentally to focus a little bit more on the compositions that I'm putting together rather than you know, thinking about, oh, I've got to photograph everything that's here, because when you get into that sort of I want to photograph everything mentality, you stop taking as much time for your individual photos and you don't get as good of results. So I'm going to focus myself in, get 2, maybe 3 pictures from today that I really like, and let the rest of it sit. It's not going anywhere, it's a landscape, right? I can always come back and get really good compositions of other things. So that's going to be the plan for today, 2, maybe 3 shots, and then head out. So I think this right here is where I want to go for at least my first composition. There's kind of a series of small waterfalls rushing down through here. The light is coming down through the trees very nicely, and it's just kind of a gorgeous sequence of events that's happening with the water flowing down that'll kind of attract your eye through the photo, I'm thinking, and it just looks beautiful in this sort of mid-morning sunlight. So what I will do is get my camera set up, put up the tripod so that I can maybe do some long exposures and give that a try. It is probably going to be a little bit tricky to get the tripod set up on the rocks that are down here, up a little closer to the subject. It's not real stable ground. A lot of these rocks have sort of fallen off nearby cliffs, and so I'm going to have to work with it a little bit to get that tripod set up. Now this is going to be my first sort of normal photo shoot with the Nikon Z6ii that I recently purchased. I have of course taken photos with it before and actually taken it out for some landscape photography before, but this is one of my more traditional landscape photography settings in the woods with some water flowing. Alright guys, let me just show you the composition here. Here is roughly the composition that I've set up, and I will actually show you what that looks like through my camera right now. Alright, so at this point you are seeing what my camera is seeing. And so what we've got right now is the 2 kind of very small waterfalls in the back right here, followed by kind of a longer waterfall in the front coming down, as well as in the side coming down. Now there are things that I like and things that I dislike about this composition. But I do think that this is a gorgeous scene, so I'm gonna go ahead and capture it like this, and then I might try to make some adjustments, maybe focus in on some of the smaller waterfalls and so forth. Now to talk you through the camera setup, I've got it set to a 1-second shutter speed, which is giving me very blurred water, countering that with a very tight aperture and a very low ISO. And then I'm just focusing it right here on this rock. I've got kind of a pinpoint focus turned on right there to get a very exact focus. And I've set my camera on a 5-second timer because, as you can see, it's not sitting on a very particularly stable place right now. I've kind of wedged it into these rocks and put the tripod neck up, which makes me a little bit uncomfortable and could introduce a lot of motion into the shot. And so that 5-second timer is just going to help to smooth out the tripod, get it nice and steady after I've touched it before it takes the picture, to keep it from blurring, hopefully. Alright guys, so here is my first composition, and I'm pretty happy with this. I do think that this is a gorgeous shot, but I did mention before there's a couple of things I think could be better. I just don't feel like the flow of the small waterfalls in the back and the large ones in the front really works. The small waterfalls are just a little bit too small in the frame, and you almost can't see them. They sort of get lost. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to base my second and third compositions off of this first one. And that's a thing that I definitely recommend in photography. Take a photo and then base a couple more photos off of that photo. See how you can improve on that to get something that you really, really like. So even though I like that, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try a photo that is just of the small waterfalls at the top, and I'm going to try another photo that is just of the large waterfalls at the bottom and see how those turn out. Okay guys, and here is the second composition that I have come up with. So for this one, you've got just those two large waterfalls, and they both come down to this area right here, to this point, and so that gives kind of a clear focal point for the image. I tried this both with the 1-second timer as I had before, and I tried it with a much faster shutter speed to capture the water sort of frozen in time. And I also tried a shot that I think is kind of interesting with the camera focused actually on this small plant that is up in the foreground right here. Now I mentioned that this is my first photo shoot really with the Z6ii II. Now depending on how my videos get released, I may well have already dropped a review of this camera before you see this photo shoot. However, this photo shoot is being filmed before that review is done. And one of the things that I'm really liking for landscape photography is the pin focus mode and the ability to tap somewhere on the screen, because it's a touch screen, right? So I can tap wherever I want on the screen, and there's a very sharp focus point, a very small focus point. And you know, you can see it can be positioned virtually anywhere that I want it, and that gives me just really, really tack sharp focus in my landscape photos, which is a huge improvement over the D3100 that I was using before. And that's really a major advantage of mirrorless cameras over DSLRs, is their ability to focus virtually anywhere in the frame. So for my next shot, what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus back on the two very, very small waterfalls. And I'm going to go for a square composition because there's a lot of stuff kind of going on around the edges that I don't really like. And I'm gonna go ahead and actually compose it that way in the camera. So I will switch it over right here to the 1:1 option. Sorry, my screen's a bit smeared, but I'm gonna switch it to that, and that's gonna give me a composition something like this. So this is just gonna be a real simple square image of those two tiny waterfalls and the logs there in the front. Here is the last composition that I came up with, which was focused on the two very tiny waterfalls in the back. They're only maybe actually a foot tall or so, and so you might not even really call them waterfalls. They're more of a rapid, but they're sort of a waterfall shape. And so I thought those were really cool looking, tiny water formations there, and by focusing in with a square crop, I was able to cut out some of the distractions and get right up on those. Okay everyone, so that is it for this video. As I said, my goal today was just to focus on getting 2 to 3 compositions that I really liked. So I focused on 2 to 3 compositions with minor adjustments in those, and didn't spend my time photographing everything out here. There is so much here. I could spend tons more time here photographing this area, and I'm sure that you'll see it in future videos. However, like I said, if you spend all of your time as a photographer trying to capture everything, what you end up doing is maybe not capturing things as well as you could have. So a key thing is to slow down and be willing to come back and take more pictures later so that you can spend lots of time on a single shot. So today I think I've probably been here for about an hour now, taking just those 3 compositions so that I could really spend a lot of time on each one, paying attention to the details, making sure that there wasn't anything weird on the edge of the frame maybe that I didn't like, trying different exposures, different shutter speeds, different apertures and so forth on those photos, really getting those exactly right. So with that, I am going to head out of here and in the video. And so guys, if you did enjoy this video, do hit the like button, subscribe to my channel for more videos like this, more videos here in the future to see how I edit these pictures, and so much more. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.